We ready?
Yes.
Okay. Call to order the March meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission. Apologize for the, I guess it wasn't a brief delay, really. It's a long delay. And if anybody here is waiting on 715 East Front Street, that one has been removed from the agenda. We have a roll call?
Certainly. Jim Morrison? Here. Gregory Rush?
Here.
Candace Sullivan?
Present.
Trip York?
Here.
James Bisbee?
Here.
Tim Thompson?
Here.
Richard Parsons?
Here.
Mark Barkner?
Here.
And Molly Bells has been excused.
Okay.
So we have a quorum.
We have quorum. Okay. Do you have minutes to approve or no?
No minutes tonight.
No minutes. All right. And the only change to the agenda that I know...
Wait.
I'm sorry.
We do have a written decision, though.
You have, oh, the written decision gets approved?
Yes, it's
Okay.
from last meeting.
Okay. And has everybody gotten a copy of the written decision? Are there any suggested changes?
Yeah.
We need a motion to approve? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion to approve the written decision from last meeting.
Make motion to approve the written decision from last meeting.
Second. Moved and seconded, we approve that decision. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved.
And we did actually skip the adjustments to the agenda. You need to do that as well.
Yeah, are there any others besides 715 East Front?
No.
No, okay. Okay. Some brief words of
Wait,
introduction. I'm sorry.
We need to do the adjustments to the agenda.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. Motion to approve the removal of 715 East Front Street from the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Chair, just to be clear on that motion, is that removing it or continuing it to the next regular meeting?
Which is it?
Continuing to the next meeting.
Okay,
So, Mr. Parsons, was your motion to continue
Yes, that'd be
7:15 to the next regular
who
meeting
is
in
the
April?
seconder?
so moved. I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We approve the continuance of 715 East Front Street to the next meeting, the April meeting, which will take place on,
April 17. Yes, April 17th.
April 17th at 5:30 in this room.
Right.
All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's done. Okay. Historic Preservation Commission is a public commission by the City of New Bern's Board of Aldermen. It's responsible for preserving and safeguarding New Bern's locally designated historic districts, downtown and Riverside, based on U.S. Department of Interior standards, state statutes, city ordinance, and New Bern's historic guidelines. Two of the major tasks of HPC, including approving applications for certificates of appropriateness and preventing demolition of historic structures due to neglect. We hold a quasi-judicial hearing, which this is, on an application for a certificate of appropriateness. The commission hears sworn testimony and evidence provided by the applicant, by parties who received notice of hearing, and by others who can justify that they have relevant evidence and are directly affected by the application. The commission cannot consider comments based on personal likes or dislikes, hearsay, or personal opinion that can't be directly related to specific historic guidelines. And likewise, the commissioners will refrain from stating personal opinions, likes and dislikes, and hearsay during the hearing. Commission bases decisions solely on the application and the testimony and the evidence presented in our hearing and the guidelines. You want to swear in presenters?
You get to do that now.
I get to do that. Oh. From here?
Yes.
Okay. Can those who are going to testify tonight come forward? Will you all raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Well, that was my opening line last time in your absence.
Everyone that has now
I'd use the same
done that,
thing
please,
from Dragnet.
sign or print your name and your address.
That's where I would have wanted.
Sure.
Right.
Each of you that swore are going to sign in there, is that right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Well, and while that takes place, I want to just cover the summary of how this process is going to take place. HPC Administrator Matt is going to provide an overview of the application. The applicant or representative will present it and have opportunity to comment on it. Proponents and proponents who receive notice of a hearing can present evidence. Rebuttal is allowed by the applicant and by proponents and opponents who receive notice. Others who can justify they have relevant information or be directly affected can present evidence. HPC administrator will present their staff findings. The applicant or representative will have an opportunity to make any final comments. The commissioners will hold a discussion on the evidence and may ask for some clarification. And then when that is complete, I will ask for a motion to approve or deny the application with the stated findings of fact. And the motion will be discussed. I'll call for a vote and we'll vote. And a COA can be approved. It can be approved with conditions or denied. Okay, we ready for the first one?
Yes, we are. So this evening, our first one is the application for 506 Craven Street. And we see here on the screen the application itself has been filled out and signed and dated by the owner's authorized representative, who is with this form becomes the authorized representative, and that has been signed and notarized. Okay, so now this is much smaller, much too large. All right, so we're talking about this particular structure here. This is the first page of the architectural drawings. And the photographs of the existing house. You can see the well-known image on the left. In the middle is the actual rear of the house that faces New Street. Change Street. Sorry. And then on the right, you can see a little bit of the right side or the north side of the house. And then down below, lower left, is from Change Street. Yes, the driveway entrance and the fencing there. And again, another view from a slightly different angle. You can see a better view of the house, or the rear side of the house from this angle. And then finally, again, from inside, a little bit closer up view of the house. So as we learned in the design review meeting. Okay. Let's do this. The project is to remove those rear steps and enclose that area of the porch. This is the site plan, which shows the proposed driveway and parking area as well. This enters off of Change Street and is limited to that area there, shown with the kind of brick pattern. They also provide an image of what that brick pattern is over here on the right. Let's see, next page. So this is a floor plan of the existing house that showing what's to be removed. You can see here the stairway dashed in is to be removed, and the screen wall for that existing rear porch is to be removed. A couple of windows. and some interior things, as well as relocating the existing air conditioning unit. So, go down, this is now the second floor existing, showing the modifications that be needed primarily for your information and consideration are these windows along this facade, the rear facade here. And so now the new proposed plan, again, we saw this in the site plan, but now I'll explain that the porch has been enclosed to become their new kitchen. And so the doorway and steps were not appropriate there, and they will be closing that with these windows along this facade, and then changing the window along this right-hand side where the steps come up to the platform that will now be doors instead of a window, of course. And then on the opposite side of that section of the house, the window that is there will be closed in. We'll see that also. So we have now the second floor. Whereas the downstairs, the porch was enclosed. Up here, they are reopening a former porch or a portion of a former porch. And this central area here is now open with a handrail, basically is the only, is what this double line indicates here. So this area is outside, and they're remodeling the rest for some bathrooms. So these are enlarged images of the plans and the kitchen layout. And so these are now elevations showing the existing conditions with the things to be removed are all dashed in. So the stairway here from the side or from the front, looking at the side of the stairway is to be removed, the windows to be removed in the background. That will be the double doors. And then from the back, here you can see the screened-in porch, all of those elements to be removed, and then the window on the little one-story portion is also to be removed. Let's see, so here we go. So these are then the new elevations. So on the left, we have kind of the front view from the point, and you can see the new stairs and the new double doors. And on this elevation, you see the area that was an open screen porch is now to be filled with new wood siding to match the rest of the house's wood siding, plus some trim around it. And then you can also see the side view of the steps, the new window on the end, the new windows in that new section with the wood siding. And then upstairs you can see the new, now it's a balcony porch, overlooking with this is the gray area is an opening. And then the new windows to the left and right of that. So, and then here we have an elevation of the side where the one window is also to be removed and closed in. And then a detail of the railing showing the railing is indeed centered on the handrail and the bottom rail. And it is spaced 3 inches apart. And then just a drawing showing that interesting paving pattern. And, and we have the Z&I zoning and inspections form, where they have reviewed the project, and the zoning administrator has said it meets the requirements of the land use ordinance. Please submit a zoning permit. And then the chief building inspector says that it will, of course, require a building permit. And then we're ready with our recommendations whenever, or our findings and evaluation whenever you are.
Okay, does the applicant wish to add anything? No, okay. Okay. Are there any proponents or opponents present who wish to comment? Hearing none. Anybody else who has any relevant information that they want to discuss? No? Okay, I think we're ready for your findings.
Okay, well, I was prepared for discussion. All right, so, no problem. All right. So these are the findings and evaluation for the project for Richard and Linda Metchling and Go Architectural Design. The applicant's address is, the project address is 506 Craven Street. The historic property name is the Smith Whitford House from circa 1772 to 1782 and was remodeled in 1875 to 1880. It is therefore a contributing structure, and the National Register inventory description has it as 2.5 stories, 5 bays wide, with the Diocletian attic window and gabled roofs. The Sandbeck description from 1998, the most relevant information out of his several paragraphs is most of the original 9/6 and 6/6 sash survive, at least back in 1988. At the rear is a 2-story porch, probably not original, but of early construction. And then 506 Craven Street, the project is to include enclosing the first floor back porch, open a second floor porch, change windows in the rear, and add a parking area, all in the secondary AVC. Staff submits the following historic district design standards, aka guidelines, that may be appropriate to this application. For utilities, 2.3.1, 2.3.2, and 2.3.6. I highlighted some items to think about or note. For landscaping, 2.4.1 and 2.4.3. For fences and garden walls, 2.5.2. For parking, 2.7.1. For design principles, 3.1.1, 3.1.2, 3.1.4. For modifications, 3.2.1, 3.2.2. For walls, trim, and ornamentation, 4.2.1, 4.2.4. For windows, doors, and openings, 4.3.1, 4.3.2, 4.3.3, 4.3.4. For entrances, 4.4.1, 4, and 5. For wood, 5.2.1 and 2. For paint, 5.4.1, 2, 3, and 4. And the statements of fact based on the information contained in the application are: 1, the structure is a contributing resource in the tight weave development pattern. 2, the project is a remodel to a contributing structure in the secondary AVC. 3, the proposed design components and materials meet the requirements of the historic district design standards, aka guidelines. 4, the zoning administrator and the chief building official have reviewed this project and commented accordingly. And 5, the application is not incongruous with the guidelines. So the HPC may want to consider the following conditions. 1, revised plans according to the changes agreed upon at the hearing shall be submitted by the applicant to the HPC staff for approval according to the guidelines and prior to the final inspection by the Building Inspections Division. And 2, for the replacement tree or trees, either a revised site plan, landscape plan, or tree replacement permit shall be submitted by the applicant to the HPC staff for approval according to the guidelines and prior to the final inspection by the Building Inspections Division. To point out, because I mentioned it there, there are to be trees to be removed, at least one, at the entrance to the driveway in order to widen it slightly as they propose. And then the other highlighted items are things you may want to discuss or ask the applicant about. That concludes our findings.
Okay. Do you wish to add anything to that?
They are taking out one crepe myrtle, and we should have put it on the application, but they're happy to replace that crepe myrtle. And the screening for the air conditioning units, perhaps we could bring that back to Matt. It's not something that we addressed. But yeah, I think that's it. And the light fixtures up there.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
Is that something that we could bring back to you as well?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, comments, questions?
I have a question. I noticed that you've added the chimneys to the drawing. You
Yes.
added more chimneys than I was expecting to see.
Oh.
I understand we have no control over what happens on the interior, but your interior drawings don't show anything holding up that third chimney on the back of the house. Is that chimney scheduled to come down?
There are 3 chimneys on the drawings.
And is that chimney going to stay?
Yes.
And what's going to hold it up?
We're not taking it down.
It's
We're not
remaining up
taking
in its
anything
entirety?
structurally on the inside that would damage it.
Okay.
Which chimney are you talking about?
It's the stove flue on the porch. And
The little one.
Yeah, the little one.
This that we want there.
Yeah, right now in that space, there is like an air conditioning unit, and it's on the plans, that little area where it is. We're not removing that room. You could probably see it on the demolition plans easiest.
Well, I see the room, but it looks like it's been reworked without the chimney.
I did not show the existing HVAC unit in that room just because it's on the first floor.
Well, as long as the chimney is going to be visible on the outside, that's all I'm concerned about.
We are not removing it.
Okay. My question is answered.
Okay, thank you.
So even though it's not shown in the drawing, the understanding is that it's not going to be?
It is shown in the drawing.
It
It is
is.
shown
Yeah.
in the drawing.
It's on the elevations. It's the small chimney. The little chimney right there.
Okay. You okay? Other questions or comments?
No, I don't see anything to critique. We talked about screening items that Matt pointed out, the light fixtures. With trees, we can deal with later. But it's, meets all the guidelines, has wood windows, double muttons. Nothing I could point out that is a concern.
Okay. Anybody else wish to comment or question? Hearing none, I'll call for a motion to approve.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move we find the application for 506 Craven Street to be not incongruous with New Bern's Code of Ordinance, sections 15411 to 15429, and New Bern's Historic District guidelines based on the following specific guidelines and findings of fact. Utilities 2.3.1, 2, and 6. Landscaping 2.4.1 and 3. Fences and garden walls 2.5.2. Parking 2.7.1. Design principles 3.1.1, 2, and 4. Modification 3.2.1 and 2. Walls, trim, and ornamentation 4.2.1 and 4. Windows, doors, and openings 4.3.1, 2, 3, and 4. Entrances 4.4.1, 4, and 5. Wood 5.2.1 and 2. Paint 5.4.1 and 2, 3, and 4. The findings of fact: the structure is a contributing resource in the tight weave development pattern. Project is a remodel to a contributing structure in the secondary AVC. 3, the proposed design components and materials meet the requirements of the historic district guidelines or standards. The zoning administrator and the chief building official have reviewed this project and commented accordingly, and you must apply for a zoning permit. 5, the application is not incongruous with the guidelines. The only condition would be that for replacement of trees or lights. I'm sorry, not replacement of lights, but replacement of trees or new planting or new light fixtures. The application shall be submitted to by the applicant to the HPC staff for approval according to the guidelines and prior to the final inspection by the Building Inspections Department. Excuse me.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Candace, second.
Thank you.
Ken, you second? Yeah, okay. Moved and seconded, we approve this application. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved. And the conditions would be reviewed with Matt.
And then to issue the COA?
Motion to issue a COA.
Make motion to issue a CI. Second.
Moved and seconded, we issue COA. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Shall be done.
All right.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
217 Hancock.
All right.
So, Mr. Chairman, as we prepare to hear this, I've had some ex parte communications with Paul Stevens. He called, and the nature of his call was to confirm the things that we had asked during design review to come back. He wanted to make sure he had covered everything, and I don't believe those communications in any way affect my ability to participate in this hearing.
I didn't ask for the first one, but I'll ask now. Are there any conflicts of interest with this one?
I had a conversation with Bill. He asked me to scan a few documents for him a few months ago. And I pointed into some things in the guidelines, but that's the extent of the communication I had with him.
Okay.
Mr. Thompson, did those communications cause you to have a fixed opinion about the application?
No, I guess you could say I have been involved in this application for quite a while because I was the chairman back in, was it 2013, I believe, Bill, when you brought this up? And we had extensive conversations about the changes on the back. And what we ended up doing was approving the application as presented to do a full restoration at the time.
And does your involvement with the application previously on the board and the communications you just disclosed, do either of those cause you any concern about being able to make a fair and appropriate decision based on the evidence presented tonight?
No.
Okay. Okay.
All
Ready
right.
to go.
All right, so this is the application, and again, it's filled out with all the appropriate information in various font sizes. And the rest of the information is there as well with the signature by the owner and dated. And so we're talking about this house on Hancock Street. Now everyone recognizes which one we're talking about. And this is a side view. These are from Google Street View from 2018. And then they also had some views from 2007 to show you the progress and the evolution of the project over time here. And now this is an aerial view showing you the site boundaries. The house is on the right with the red roof, and the back of the lot has a lot of trees. There's actually a garage back there. But this is an aerial from 2024. The applicants provided these photos, which are much better. And they show these area of the house that's subject of tonight's application. Primarily, the right-hand photo is the rear of the house. That's where most of the change will occur, but there's a couple of changes on the left-hand photo as well with regard to the windows and also the access to the basement, which is a little bit hard to see in this photograph. That's maybe a little bigger. So we'll do that. Oh, that's too much. Okay, we'll go slow. So here we're talking about this access here on the left. All right. Then the bottom photograph shows us the other side of the house, which is the southern side, and the owner's driveway along this side. And this side also will primarily have some window modifications over here, or proposed window modifications. And I'm going to have to go smaller again. Okay, so now we have a floor plan for this. And you can see a little bit smaller. This is a floor plan of just the rear addition area that we're considering tonight. The rest of the house here is shown blank. But so on the bottom is that structure for the basement access. We can see also there's 2 new windows proposed on this side over here in the existing openings, I believe. We'll see that on the elevation. And then a new addition is essentially an 8'2" addition on the very back, which includes this enclosed area in this corner, and then a double balcony or a double porch on this upper portion here. Then also some new windows are shown here, both on the rear and then on the southern side. And then you see there's some steps to this first floor porch on the right-hand side. Then the next one is the second floor, and you can see these are the stairs that come up from the first floor and rounding around to access the second floor. And then there's the second floor porch. Again, now in this case we have 3 existing windows that will be repaired, and then on the other side down here, these are now 3 new windows on this side, and then 1 on the end of the new addition, and of course a new door also onto that new porch. So looking from the north elevation, with the addition on the right, we can see the 4 windows here now we have, and the new bulkhead for the basement access. We have 2 new 2/2 windows at the top here. I'm sorry, I'd say 4 of them. All 4 of those are new. Also the new window on the new addition, of course. And they are looking to also repair the existing siding. On this elevation, starting from left to right, we have that access door, and then the new addition, the new construction of the addition itself. This being the solid enclosed portion on the left with the second floor window, and then the 2-story porch addition on the right, with the new window at the first floor, and I believe these were repaired windows on the second floor. This addition will have some new standing seam metal roofing, and then the gable end will have a new vent in the tip of the gable. The chimney gets a new low-profile spark arrestor. We have 1 more elevation to go. South elevation, and here you can see the stairway from the side, the porch, the 2 porches here with the 2 doors, and then a new 2/2 window on the lower left, And the rest of the windows will be repaired, existing windows, and they'll be repairing the existing siding on this side as well. So that's pretty much the proposal. We have our zoning and inspections form here as well. And in this case, we have the zoning administrator has indicated 2 parking spaces and that it meets the requirements of the land use ordinance. Please submit a zoning permit and site plan showing the expansion. Then the chief building inspector has indicated that the project will require a building permit, of course. And then we're ready with our findings and evaluation when you are.
Okay. Sir, you want to make some comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Bill Choife. I'm the owner, and I actually own half of it, and Linda Leslie's granddaughter owns the other half, but I'm the trustee until she's 25, and so we got a few more years.
Oh, do you have some comments to make, or?
Oh, no. Thank you very much to all of you. This is the 3rd time I think I've been up here in 20 years, so you folks are familiar with it. Paul Stevens, who is the architect, he is the original architect, and as many of you know, left town, is inching his way back into town, could not be here tonight. He did help me, and I wanted to make sure I understood your questions from the design review. I think the most pressing question, unless I'm wrong, was about the choice of windows. And I'm happy if you'd indulge me, I could read a statement from Paul into the record to kind of explain that. Okay. The choice of 2/2 windows for the proposed renovations of the rear wing of the Fenner House follows the established tradition of a different window type being used for each of the major additions and or renovation projects that preceded the current proposed alterations. While this tradition, and he has that in quotes, was likely happenstance based on what was available or cheapest at the time, the decision to continue the selection of a different window type provides a convenient method to distinguish this phase in the evolution of the Fenner House from the older phases. The 2x2 window proposed for this phase of the work was chosen to allude to the late 19th or early 20th century 2x2 windows that were used to replace the original 18th century 9/6 and 6/6 windows of the Fenner House. These were removed when the exterior of the 18th century portion of the Fenner House was restored.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Not at the moment.
Thank you.
I will add that the applicant did provide, as requested, a detail of the railing that we requested at the design review meeting. However, it's not entirely legible. So I did get to view it on his phone to clarify that obviously the configuration of the baluster pieces are correct in that they're centered under the handrail and the bottom rail. The spacing, they are square balusters, and they are proposed to be 5 inches on center, but with that size they would need to be closer to 4 inches on center to conform to our spacing. That would be the only thing. They will be providing me with a better image after this meeting.
Okay. Are there any proponents or opponents of the project who want to speak? Seeing none. Okay. I think we're ready for the staff findings.
Okay. All right. Okay, so the staff findings and evaluation are for project for Bill Choika and your
Elizabeth Ann.
Yeah, Elizabeth there. And is that your daughter?
My step-granddaughter.
Step-granddaughter, okay. And the project address is 217 Hancock Street. The historic property name is the Fenner Oliver House, circa 1770 to 1780, remodeled circa 1890. And this is, of course, a contributing structure. The National Register inventory description from 2003 describes it as 2 stories, 4 bays wide, exterior end chimney, gable end roof, 2-story transverse gable rear wing. The Sandbeck description from 1988, the most relevant information is the Fenner Oliver House stands high above Hancock Street on a full basement. Its exterior retains its 4-bay gable roofed form, along with early wide beaded weatherboarding and some Georgian 2-part door and window surrounds. During an extensive 1890s remodeling, its original massive central chimney was removed and replaced by end chimneys, one of which survives. Also at that time, the eaves of the roof were altered and most of the original 9/6 and 6/6 sash were removed. The Sanborn insurance maps show evidence that the house had a 2-story porch across its rear elevation, which was removed and replaced by the present 2-story rear L. So the project proposed for 217 Hancock Street is to include adding a new rear addition, change the basement access cover and 6 windows, plus several other minor work items in the secondary and tertiary AVCs. So staff submits the following historic district design standards, guidelines that may be appropriate to this application. For utilities, 2.3.1, 2, and 6. For design principles, 3.1.1, 2, and 4. For modifications, 3.2.1, 2, and 3. For additions, 3.3.1, 2, and 3. For foundations, 4.1.1, 2, 3, and 4. For walls, trim, and ornamentation, 4.2.1 and 4. For windows, doors, and openings, 4.3.1, 2, and 3. For entrances, 4.4.4. For roofs, 4.5.1 and 4. For masonry, 5.1.1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. For wood, 5.2.1 and 2. And for paint, 5.4.1, 2, 3, and 4. The statements of fact based on the information contained in the application are: the structure is a contributing resource in the tight weave development pattern. The project is an addition and alterations to a contributing structure in the secondary and tertiary AVCs. The proposed design components and materials meet the requirements of the historic district design standards. 4, the zoning administrator and the chief building official have reviewed this project and commented accordingly. And 5, the application is not incongruous with the guidelines. And the HPC may want to consider the following conditions. Revised plans according to the changes agreed upon at the hearing shall be submitted by the applicant to the HPC staff for approval according to the guidelines and prior to the final inspection by the Building Inspections Division. That's the end of our staff report.
Which would include the railing.
The railing detail, correct.
Okay, are there any other comments that you have, sir?
No, again, thank you for your...
Okay, thank you. Okay, discussion.
One question for Bill, just to get it in the public record.
Can I, something in the back of my mind procedurally. Richard, did you receive notice about this?
I did.
So he lives within 100 feet. Commissioner
Sure.
Parsons?
It's true. I do live within 100 feet of that.
So is that
Should I refuse?
disqualifier for participation?
Does that disqualify?
Not in and of itself. Mr. Parsons, do you have any financial interest in this project, or would this project affect any financial interest of yours?
No, ma'am.
Have you had any ex parte communications with the applicant?
I have not.
Are you able to hear the evidence tonight and make a decision based solely on the evidence presented?
I can't.
Okay,
Thank you. Nothing personal in that.
No.
We want to have his
Good
input.
point.
but
Good question.
wanted to make sure. Okay.
good question. Okay, Tim?
This came up at the design review, and I just kind of wanted to get it in the public record. There is an ancient eastern red cedar in the backyard that is probably as old as the house, if not as old as New Bern. And you said you were going to make every effort to make sure that tree is not damaged, the root system is not damaged as part of the construction that you're doing here, correct?
There is no intention, and if it was touched, the heavens would come down upon me.
Well,
Okay.
neither Mr. Thompson or I are under oath, but my opinion is that it's not an eastern red cedar, it's a deodar. And that it's probably less than 100 years old, but there we go.
Okay, we got that clarified. Okay. Any other questions or discussion?
No, I think, this, as you say, goes back a long time. I saw this years ago. And at the time, I will make the point, at the time, we did it as a true restoration, which had a different set of standards, where now you're turning it into a rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And the one thing I noticed, I didn't see anywhere specifically in your drawings that it said wood windows.
Well, I defer to my architect, but wood would be used, and I think he has used the term adaptive restoration. And for those who are fairly new to the board or commission, meaning the last 10 years, we were here 10 years ago to take down the rear.
Right.
After Linda passed away, very candidly, and talking to her family, we decided to retain the rear, and that's why we're here.
No, I might admire what you're doing, but just noticed it wasn't specified in what we see.
Yeah.
So they are wood windows. That was
There were, yeah. To my knowledge, they would be, and I'll go with Paul and what is.
I'm certain they are.
Yeah.
But Mr. Bill, I commend you for seeing this project through. It's been a long journey. I know you're excited to bring it to further completion. The restoration work done on the front turned out really well, and it appears from the combination of retaining historic fabric and the small delicate addition in the back that you can have an adaptively reused building that'll serve a purpose, and that's what we're all about.
Thank you.
I particularly like the idea that was stated, and I think it makes a lot of sense. I would like to see that more often, that there's more distinction made between additions and new materials used in contrast to the old existing things, like the 2/2, instead of using the same windows that are already on the building. I would like to see that more.
Yeah. Well, I would expect, for those, most of you are familiar with Paul Stevens. When we started, he was, with all due respect to Mr. Ure, the premier historic architect in town, and he hasn't lost his touch.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the application.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, go ahead.
Oh, let me go ahead, please. I move that we find the application for 217 Hancock Street to be not incongruous with New Bern's Code of Ordinance Sections 15.411 to 15.429 and New Bern's Historic District Guidelines based on the following specific guidelines and findings of fact. Utilities 2.3.1, 2, and 6. Design principles 3.1.1, 2, and 4. Modifications 3.2.1, 2, and 3. Additions 3.3.1, 2, and 3. Foundations 4.1.1, 2, 3, and 4. Walls, trim, and ornamentation 4.2.1 and 4.2.4. Windows, doors, and openings 4.3.1, 2, and 3. Entrances 4.4.4. Roofs 4.5.1 and 4.5.4. Masonry 5.1.1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Wood 5.2.1 and 5.2.2. Paint 5.4.1, 2, 3, and 4. And the findings of fact, the structure is a contributing resource in the tight weave development pattern. The addition is in a tertiary area of visual concern. The proposed design and application components, materials all meet the requirements of our historic district guidelines. Zoning administrator and chief building official have reviewed the project, commented accordingly, and lastly, again, the application is not incongruous with the guidelines.
And the last part, we haven't really added any changes, so.
Well, the only condition being that the unclear detail that was forwarded be resent and included in the record that's sent to
Railing
staff.
part, yeah, okay. Okay, is there a second for that motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded, we approve the application with that one condition. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it's approved. Motion to issue a COA.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, we issue the COA. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? COA can be issued.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
.207 Pollock Street.
Okay. So here we have the application for 207 Pollock Street for Mike and Elena Huber, and Go Architectural Design. And we have the applications fully completed here and signed by their authorized representative, who is hereby with this form authorized and notarized. She's been notarized. The signature has been notarized. All right. And so this is the structure we're talking about on Pollock Street. So again, that same photo on the upper left. Well, not quite, no. So now this one is a slightly more oblique angle with the driveway, and this side of the structure is the side of the structure that will be altered. Particularly here with this upper center photograph, the stairway here will be removed. This little shed, actually access way, will be removed, and all of this will be changed along this, in this corner area, this inside corner area. And we can see this also here on the right, upper right, some of the various features, including some features on the rear corner. And then again, another shot of it a little farther back, get some other elements in context. And then also on the right-hand side, we have a window here that will be closed in. But this gives then the overall form for the house from the opposite corner. All right, so this is then the site plan for the project, showing we're going to be talking about this area here in this inside corner of the side, rear corner side of the house. And so here we have the existing plan showing the demolition to be done at the first level. Here's the stairway to be removed. And then there is also a good portion of this side wall to be removed as well, and some interior work. Also, the rear window is to be removed, and then finally that other window down on the opposite side of the house. While they're doing work, they might as well do that, right? So then the second floor, this shows the removal of the rest of the stairway and a piece of the wall and a door. But that's pretty much it on this second floor. So the new floor plan will essentially enclose that area where the stairway had been, to be an interior stairway, and the new entrance into the house will be from the rear of the house up a new set of stairs to a new door. All the walls shown here in black are new walls. And so the existing wall is this dashed line back here. And then it also shows the other window on this, down in this corner, to be closed in. Let's see, what's next? Second floor plan, continuing the stair tower up to the second floor, and entering in an apparently existing doorway, but on the inside. And so we have two new windows up on this level for that addition. And this shows the various roofs below and steps. So we have two metal sloping roofs that are shown from above here. We'll see those in elevation in a minute. Okay, so the existing elevation showing the removal of the stairway and the various doors, in this case just the doors, and the access to the basement or the crawl space to be removed. And then on the rear, also the stairway again, and the window, the two windows that'll be closed in that are facing the back. So now we have the new. Here we go. So where the stairway used to be, we have this solid construction, enclosed construction. This door at the bottom is to storage underneath the stairway, the interior stairway. They have continued the foundation pattern along the bottom with brick, and they have some new siding, new wood siding for the side here to match the existing. This is obviously a new window then here, and the metal roof at the top. We have a side view of the new stairway, which also has its own little roof for the landing, and that's all out of wood. And then there is another piece of addition that is skinnier. We'll see that on this other elevation in a minute. And it also has the same, the wood siding and the metal roofing, a new double window, and the same foundation. So on this other elevation, you can see that that particular addition is a rather narrow piece of addition. And so the roofing is also on top of that. And then we have the little stoop or landing roof. Also, you can see here and the end of the larger stair tower addition is on the side shown here with its sloping roof as well. The window to be closed is was on this elevation, is now to be closed with siding to match the existing siding, correct? And then the other window is the one shown here, also to match the existing siding. This is the handrail detail, or the railing detail, and also indicates a 3-inch spacing between the balusters. So that should do us for the drawings. And so now we have the zoning and inspections form. For 207 Pollock Street, and it shows the 2 parking spaces need to be retained, which I don't think is an issue here, and it meets the requirements of the land use ordinance. Please submit a zoning permit application, and the chief building inspector indicates that it will require a building permit. So we're then ready with our findings and evaluation.
Okay. Any opponents or proponents wish to speak? No. Okay. Is there anything else you guys would like to say?
I always see my mistakes when I'm sitting out here, but I realized that I left a chimney off, and it is not our intention to take that chimney down. So I just want to make that clear. Thank you, Richard.
Okay, ready for your findings.
Okay. Okay, so the findings and evaluation for the project for Mike and Elena Huber and Go Architectural Design for 207 Pollock Street, which is the James M. Howard House, built circa 1890. And its National Register inventory description in 2003 is 2 stories. It's an L plan, 5 bays wide, octagonal tower with pyramidal roof, wraparound porch, bracketed cornices, gabled roofs contain patterned shingles, and interior chimneys. For the Sandbeck description from 1988, the most relevant information is the exterior detailing of the Howard House is typical of New Bern's simplified interpretations of the Queen Anne style, with its plain weatherboarded elevations, bracketed cornice, and lively gables decorated with pressed tin, sawtooth bands, and patterned boards. So for the project for 207 Pollock Street is to include removing the wooden 2-story exterior stairway, a new addition, and closing up 1 window in the secondary AVC. Staff submits the following historic district design standards that may be appropriate to this application. For utilities, 2.3.6. For design principles, 3.1.1, 2, and 4. For modifications, 3.2.1, 2, and 3. For additions, 3.3.1, 2, and 3. For foundations, 4.1.1, 2, 3, and 4. For walls, trim, and ornamentation, 4.2.1 and 4. For windows, doors, and openings, 4.3.1, 2, and 3. Entrances, 4.4.4. For roofs, 4.5.1 and 4. For masonry, 5.1.1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. For wood, 5.2.1 and 2. For paint, 5.4.1, 2, 3, and 4. The statements of fact based on the information contained in the application are: 1, the structure is a contributing resource in the tight weave development pattern. The project is an addition and alterations to a contributing structure in the secondary and tertiary AVCs. The proposed design components and materials meet the requirements of the historic district design standards. 4, the zoning administrator and the chief building official have reviewed this project and commented accordingly. And 5, the application is not incongruous with the guidelines. So the HPC may want to consider the following conditions: that revised plans according to the changes agreed upon at the hearing should be submitted by the applicant to the HPC staff for approval according to the guidelines and prior to the final inspection by the Building Inspections Division.
Anything you want to add? Okay. Commissioners, questions, comments?
It says metal roof, but you mean standing seam metal roof. On the drawing, it just says metal roof.
Yes,
So flat, yeah,
yes.
understand.
Any others?
Now we get another addition in a tertiary area that is somewhat delicate, achieves the purpose. So,
Great, thank you.
It's nice to replace a temporary structure with something permanent that's
Yeah,
compatible.
exactly.
Okay, hearing no more questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
To approve? I do the whole thing.
Oh, second.
I'll-
Oh, wait a minute.
You have to actually make the motion.
You have to make the motion.
You have to make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move we find the application for a certificate of appropriateness for 207 Pollock Street to be not incongruous with New Bern's Code of Ordinance, Sections 15.411 to 15.429 in New Bern's Historic District Guidelines, based on the following specific guidelines and findings of fact. Utilities, 2.3.6, design principles, 3.1.1, 2, and 4. Modifications, 3.2.1, 2, and 3. Additions, 3.3.1, 2, and 3. Foundations, 4.1.1, 2, 3, and 4. Walls, trim, and ornamentation, 4.2.1 and 4. Windows, doors, and openings, 4.3.1, 2, and 3. Entrances, 4.4.4. Roofs, 4.5.1 and 4. Masonry, 5.1.1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Wood, 5.2.1 and 2. paint 5.4.1, 2, 3, and 4. And findings of fact, the structure is a contributing resource in the tight weave development pattern. The project is an addition and alteration to a contributing structure in the secondary and tertiary AVCs. The proposed design components and materials meet the requirements of the Historic District guidelines or standards. The zoning administrator and the chief building official have reviewed this project and commented accordingly, and a zoning permit must be applied for. And the application is not incongruous with the guidelines.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Second. Moved and seconded, we approve the application. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it's approved. Entertain a motion to issue a COA.
So do it. First? Yes.
Move, there a second?
Move.
Second.
Second. Moved and second, we issue the COA. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Okay. .217 Middle. I received a letter, but I don't own the property that's near it anymore, and I passed it on to the people who own it.
Okay.
Any other conflict? No.
All right. Okay, so this is the application for 217 Middle Street for Michael Lee and John Watson. And they have filled out the application completely and then also signed and dated the application. So, as we saw in the design review meeting, we're talking about this particular storefront in downtown, and they are proposing to remodel just the portion that's basically here in black, everything below the yellow area, and in between the two yellow pilasters or columns on the right-hand side. This is a black and white photograph that shows a little bit better the details of the facade and maybe some of the details of the storefront. And then this is a straight-on shot, so you can kind of see how it looks, how it looks now, and the existing entry doorway and surrounding light windows. And now from a more oblique angle and closer. And there we are again, and now you can see even the floor pattern, including the name Virginia Dare on the floor. On the right-hand side of that entryway, though, there is also a doorway on this side, which is a doorway to the upper story residence. And this is why one of the reasons why the remodel is happening. This is a sketch of that, showing the entrance to the store at the top, and then the residential door on the right. So what they would like to do is they would like to separate the two doors, and so have the storefront door on the left and the residential door on the right, with the storefront window in the middle. And also this shows then the addition of an eyebrow across the top, what the applicant's calling an eyebrow. You'll see in a second what that means. And this also shows that the ceiling for this area does extend up behind the yellow brick pattern area that is the facade of the building. This also shows some of the various materials. So let's start from the left. The existing column or pilaster on the left. Then the surface on the left going into the doorway is to be brick or plaster. And they will be reusing the storefront door and adding a new transom with glass over the top. And then the yes, the show window, I guess, is the front one in the front, but they will also have a show window on the side as you enter into the store. And the bottom will be wood panel, similar to what they have now, but a little bit taller maybe, I'm not sure. And then wood, as you go into the residential doorway area, on the left-hand side, the side will not be glass, but will be a wood panel on the left. They will be reusing the upper floor door and adding a transom above that. And then on the right-hand side will be plaster, and then all the way on the right, the existing column will remain. The floor area for the entrance will be terracotta tile on both cases. All right. So we'll see here. So this gets a better idea of, say, the eyebrow will be projecting out from the facade, and you get some idea of the sides that were a little harder to see in the other view, such as this the glass side window, and then also on the right-hand side, next to the residential door, the plaster will probably have some wood strips in it because of the existing construction that has been attached to the plaster that's currently interior. Then this is both a plan view and a side elevation. So let's start with the side elevation. Shows the eyebrow sticking out from the actual facade. And then the plan view shows those two entryways and dimensions and some of the materials for the residential at the top and the store at the bottom, where it will be angled in for the store entryway. Then a section of the eyebrow piece showing the existing brick beam or brick covered beam for the storefront opening, and the eyebrow will be attached to the underside of that and project out 12 inches from that facade. The pilaster or columns on the sides already project 6 inches out from there, so the eyebrow will be about 6 inches out from the columns or pilasters from when it meets those on the two ends. And the eyebrows to be covered with copper around the entirety of the eyebrow. And then they provided an example of another store that they are looking to emulate the paneling kind of system or appearance on the bottom of the storefront. And then we have our zoning and inspections form, and here the zoning administrator has indicated that it meets the requirements of the land use ordinance to please submit a zoning permit application, and the chief building inspector said that it will require a building permit. So then we're ready with our findings and evaluation.
You guys want to add anything?
Wait to get to the microphone, please.
Come on up.
To the microphone, yes.
Okay, so the residential door, we'll do our best to leave it plaster. Once we get into it, it may not be plaster. We may have to go straight to the brick. So if the plaster works, we'll keep the plaster. I think there's a piece of sheetrock over it, so if we can remove the sheetrock and the plaster looks good, we'll keep it. If not, we'll take it down to the brick.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
That's it. Yeah. We don't have any others to comment. Your findings?
Sure. Okay. All right. So these are the findings and evaluation for the project for Michael Lee and John Watson at 217 Middle Street. It is known as the Copland Building, circa 1912. I added the photograph because the Copland Building is actually 3 pieces, and the subject is the middle piece. So you see this gray piece, and then the piece behind the tree. Those are all part of the Copland Building. They're now 3 separate properties, and I think there's even party walls between them now. But just to be clear, the entire thing was built in 1912. All right, and that is now a contributing structure. And the National Register inventory description, here we talk about the tripartite commercial building. It's brick, 2 stories, 8 bays wide. So all 3 of them together is 8. Diamond pattern ornamental brickwork and paneled and corbelled parapets. So the sandbag description from 1988, the most relevant information is full height pilasters divide the 2-story 6-bay facade into 3 units of equal width, each having its own storefront. All original detailing at the first level has been removed and a portion of the upper facade covered with metal and stucco. The southernmost stores still display lively diamond pattern ornamental brickwork adjacent to the windows. The cornice and parapet display corbelled and paneled brickwork typical of the period. So the project for 207 Pollock Street is to include a storefront remodel in the primary AVC. Staff submits the following historic district design standards that may be appropriate to this application. For utilities, 2.3.6. Design principles, 3.1.1, 2, and 4. For modifications, 3.2.1 and 2. For walls, trim, and ornamentation, 4.2.1 and 4. For windows, doors, and openings, 4.3.1. For entrances, 4.4.3. For wood, 5.2.1. And for paint, 5.4.1, 2, and 3. The statements of fact, based on the information contained in the application, are 1, the structure is a contributing resource in the dense fabric development pattern. 2, the project is a remodel of the storefront of a contributing structure in the primary AVC. 3, the proposed design components and materials meet the requirements of the historic district design standards. And 4, the zoning administrator and the chief building official have reviewed this project and commented accordingly. And 5, the application is not incongruous with the guidelines. And you may want to consider having conditions related to anything that may be added at the meeting.
You wish to add?
Yeah, one other thing I noticed, as you started to read, Matt, you said 207 Middle Street. So I think there's a little typo.
Yes,
It should be 217.
that's correct. Oh, and it says Pollock Street. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
207 Middle Street.
217 Middle.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Commissioners, comments, questions?
Thank you for the additional information since design review.
Yeah. Not seeing any.
And so the tile with the text becomes inside after you do the renovation, correct? So it's still retained, but,
Well, just to let you know, I found a whole bunch of terracotta tile at like 75% off. So when we rip out we're going to do the whole thing, and it matches the terrazzo. So it won't be terrazzo pieces, but it's the same material. So we're pretty happy about that. So
The whole thing, but not the piece that's got
the display window,
Yeah.
which we're taking out, we are going to have to lay cement down, because it's a little bit of dirt under that window, and we're going to blade that tile in there as well. We were just going to do the entryway, but now we were just going to do, cement and then do wood over it just to match what's inside. But now we're going to use that terracotta tile.
so the Virginia Dare will remain?
Will stay,
Okay.
yes.
Will stay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, any other comments, questions, concerns? No? Would entertain a motion, then we approve the application. You want to take a shot?
No. AVC.
Who would like to do
In the
that?
interest of the meeting, Mr. Chairman, I move to find the application for a certificate of appropriateness for 217 Middle Street to be not incongruous with New Bern's Code of Ordinance, sections 15411 to 15429, and New Bern's Historic District guidelines based on the following specific guidelines and findings of fact. Utilities 2.3.6, design principles 3.1.1, 2, and 4, modifications 3.2.1 and 2, walls, trim, ornamentation 4.2.1 and 4, windows, doors, and openings 4.3.1, entrances 4.4.3, wood 5.2.1, paint 5.4.1, 2, and 3. Findings of fact, the structure is a contributing resource in the dense fabric development pattern. Project is a remodel of the storefront of a contributing structure in the primary AVC. The proposed design, components, and materials meet the requirements of the Historic District design standards or guidelines. The zoning administrator and the chief building official have reviewed this project and commented accordingly, and you do need to apply for a zoning permit. The application is not incongruous with the guidelines.
Okay. Is there a second for that motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded, we approve the application. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. I need a motion to issue a COA.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, we issue a COA for the project. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. COA is approved. Okay. Old business, I know of none. General public comments, we really don't have any. Any new business? We've seen your report at the work session. You have anything else that you want to talk about, Matt?
Let's see. No, I would say no.
Okay. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded, we adjourn the meeting. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned.